I wouldn't necessarily say that I was passionate about journalism in the beginning. I sort of fell into it. I wanted to be a vet, and I dropped out of my first year of university because I didn't take a gap year and I was burned out. And I bumped into my English and English lit teacher, and she said, "Why are you doing science anyway? You should be writing for a living." And I said, "How do you make a living writing?" And she said, "Well, you thought about journalism?" You know, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a warm, fuzzy mentoring experience. There weren't very many women in television. I started in television in 1981. I was 21 years old. And there were hardly any women on air, and the women who were on air were mostly reading the weather or they were entertainers. There were hardly any journalists. I'm not saying there were none, but there were hardly any. So there weren't senior women who could take you under their wing and mentor you because they virtually didn't exist. In the first 2 years that I was in television, I realised how much I had to learn. And I had a news director who was a very tough taskmaster. I mean, you have to remember in the early 80s there was no such thing as a human relations department. We didn't operate like that. And Carole believed that he'd either make you or he'd break you. And if he made you, then you were going to have enough, chutzpah to get you through a solid career in television. And I think he made me, because I'm still here 36 years later. I'm never going to whinge. I'm never going to whinge. I've been a very lucky girl. I grew up in Greensboro. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't have old school ties. I went to a state private school and a state high school, so there were no contacts. And I figure that everything that I have achieved has been a blessing. I consider I'm a very lucky. I've worked hard for my luck, but I'm a lucky girl.